Good morning, Ajahn.
Good morning.
Good morning, brothers and sisters in the Dhamma. Let's pay respect to Ajahn by bowing 3 times. First bow. Second bow. Third bow. We'll begin with the chanting. We'll now invite Ajahn to lead us in the chanting.
Okay, so start with the Buddha verse on loving kindness. Now let us chant the Buddha verse on loving kindness. Karaniyamattha kusarena yantang santang patang apisameja sako uchu ja suhuchu ja suvajo ja samuthu anatimani santu sako ja suparo ja appakicco ja sallahukavutti santin triyo ja nipako ja appakappo kulesu ananukittoนาจะคุดทั้งสมาจเรกินจิเยนะวินยูปะเรอุปวัตเทยุงสุขิโนวาเคมิโนโหนตุสัพเพสัตตาภวันตุสุขิตาตาเยเกจิปานะภูตาทิตสาวาทาวราวาอนวเสสาธิคาวาเยมหันตาวามัชฌิมาราสกะอนุกทุระทิฏฐาวาเยจะอทิฏฐาเยจะทุเรวสันติอวิทุเรภูตาวาสัมภเวสีวาสัพเพสัตตาภวันตุสุขิตาตานะปโรปรังนิโกเพทนานติมันเยทกัตถจินังกินจิพยาโรสนาปฏิฆสัญญานัญญมัญญาสทุกขมิจฉยมาตายธานิยปุตตังอายุสาเอกปุตตมนุรักเขเอวัมปิสัพพพุเตสุมาณสัมภาวะเยอปริมาณเมตัญจะสัพพโลกัสมิงมาณสัมภาวะเยอปริมาณังอุทธังอโทจติริยัญจะอสัมภาทังอเวรังอสปัตตังทิฏฐัญจรังนิสินโนวาสยาโนวายาวตัสสวิคตมิทโทเอตังสติงอทิฏฐิยพรัมมะเมตังวิหารังอิทธมาหุทิทินจะอนุปคัมมสีลวาทัสสเนนะสัมปันโนกาเมสุวินัยยะเคทังนะหิชาตุคัพพะเสยยังปุณเรติติ We do the translation. Now let us chant the Buddha verse on loving kindness. This is what should be done by one who is skilled in goodness and who knows the path of peace. Let them be able and upright, straightforward and gentle in speech, humble and not conceited, contented and easily satisfied, unburdened with duties, and frugal in their ways, peaceful and calm and wise and skillful, not proud and demanding in nature. Let them not do the slightest thing, that's the wise whose pleasure reproof, wishing in gladness and in safety. May all beings be at ease, whatever living beings there may be, whether they are weak or strong, omitting none, the great or the mighty, medium, short or small, the seen and the unseen, those living near and far away, those born and to be born, may all beings be at ease. Let none deceive another, or despise any being in any state. Let none through anger or ill will wish harms upon another, even as a mother protects with her life her child, her only child. So with a boundless heart, should one cherish all living beings, radiating kindness over the entire world. spreading upwards to the skies and downwards to the depths, outwards and unbounded, free from hatred and ill will, whether standing or walking, seated or lying down, free from drowsiness. One should sustain this recollection. This is said to be the sublime abiding, by not holding to fixed views, the pure-hearted one, having clarity of vision, being free from all sense desires, is not born again into this world. หันธรรมยังอุทิศนาทิฏฐานาคาทายโยภนามาเสอิมินาปุญญกรรมเมนะอุปัชฌายาคุณุตตราอาจาริโยปการาจะมาตาปิตาจะยาตกาสุริโยจันทิมาราชาคุณวันตานราปิจะพรหมมาราจะอินทาจะโลกัปปาลาจะเทวตายะโมมิตามนุสาจะมัชฌัตตาเวริกาปิจะสัพเพสัตตาสุขีโหนตุปุญญานิปัคตานิเมสุขันจติวิทังเทนตุขิปังปาเปทโวมะตังอิมินาปุญญกรรมเมนะอิมินาอุทิเสนะจะขิปาหังสุลเพเจวตันหุปาทานาเชทนังเยสันตาเนหินาธัมมายาวะนิพพานโตมะมังนัสสันตุสัพพทาเยวะยัตถชาโตภเวภเวอุชุจิตังสติปัญญาสันเลโควิริยัมหินามาราลพันตุโนกาสังกาตุนจะวิริเยสุเมพุทธาธิปวโรนาโทธัมโมนาโทวรุตตโมนาโทปัจเจกพุทโธจะสังโฆนาโทตโรมะมังเตโสตมานุภาเวนะมาโรกาสังรพันตุมา Now let us chant the verses of sharing and aspiration. Through the goodness that arises from my practice, may my spiritual teachers and guides of great virtue, my mother, my father, and my relatives, the sun and the moon, and all virtuous leaders of the world, may the highest gods and evil forces, celestial beings, guardian spirits of the earth, and the Lord of death, may those who are friendly, indifferent, or hostile, may all beings receive the blessings of my life. May they soon attain the threefold bliss and realize the deathless. Through the goodness that arises from my practice, and through these acts of sharing, may all desires and attachments quickly cease, and all harmful states of mind, until I realize Nibbana in every kind of birth. May I have an upright mind, with mindfulness and wisdom, austerity and vigor. May the forces of delusion not take hold, nor weaken my resolve. The Buddha is my excellent refuge, unsurpassed is the protections of the Dhamma. The solitary Buddha is my noble guide. The Sangha is my supreme support. Through the supreme power of all this, may darkness and delusion be dispelled. หันธรรมยังเมตตาภรนังกโรมาเสอาหังสุขิโตโหมินิทุโคโหมิอเวโรโหมิอัพยาปโชโหมิอานิโคโหมิสุขีอัตตานังปริหารามิสัพเพสัตตาสุขิตาโหนตุสัพเพสัตตาอเวราโหนตุสัพเพสัตตาอัพยาปชาโหนตุสัพเพสัตตาอานิคาโหนตุสัพเพสัตตาสุขีอัตตานังปริหารันตุสัพเพสัตตาสัพพทุกขาปมุญจันตุ สัพเพสัตตาลัทธสัมปติโตมาวิกัจฉันตุสัพเพสัตตากัมมัสสกากัมมทายาทากัมมโยนิกัมมพันธุกัมมปฏิสารนายังกัมมังคาริสันติกัลยาณังวาปาปกังวาตัสสทายาทาปวิสันติ Now let us chant the reflections on universal well-being. May I abide in well-being, in freedom from affliction, in freedom from hostility, in freedom from ill will, in freedom from anxiety, and may I maintain well-being in myself. May everyone abide in well-being, in freedom from hostility, in freedom from ill will, in freedom from anxiety, and may they maintain well-being in themselves. May all beings be released from all suffering, and may they not be parted from the good fortune they have attained when they act upon intention. All beings are the owners of their actions and inherit its results. Their future is born from such actions, companion to such actions, and its results will be their home. All actions with intention, be they skillful or harmful, of such acts, they will be the heirs. Okay. Alright, so we do the next one. Han Thamayang Chaturapamanya Ophasanang Karoma Se Metta Sahakate Na Cetasa Ekang Tisang Paritawa Viharati Tatha Tutiyang Tatha Tatiyang Tatha Jatutang Iti Uttamato Tiriyang Sappati Sappa Tataya Sappa Vanta Lokang Metta Sahakate Na Cetasa Vipurena Mahakatena Appamanena Avirena Apaya Pachena Paritawa Viharati Karuna Sahakate Na Cetasa Ekang Tisang Paritawa Viharati Tatha Tutiya Tatha Tatiyang Tatha Jatutang Iti Uttamato Tiriyang Sappati Sappa Tataya Sappa Vanta Lokang Karuna Sahakatena Cetasa Vipulena Mahakatena Appamanena Averena Apaya Pachena Paritawa Viharati Mudita Sahakate Na Cetasa Ekang Tisang Paritawa Viharati Tatha Tutiya Tatha Tatiyang Tatha Jatutang Iti Uttamato Tiriyang Sappati Sappa Tataya Sappa Vanta Lokang Mudita Sahakatena Cetasa Vipulena Mahakatena Appamanena Averena Apaya Pachena Paritawa Viharati Upekha Sahakatena Cetasa Ekang Tisang Paritawa Viharati Tatha Tutiyang Tatha Tatiyang Tatha Jatutang Iti Uttamato Tiriyang Sappati Sappa Tataya Sappa Vantang Lokang Upekha Sahakate Na Cetasa Vipulena Mahakatena Appamanena Averena Apaya Pachena Paritawa Viharati Iti. The translation. Now let's just make the four boundless quality shine forth. I will abide, pervading 1/4 with a heart imbued with loving kindness. Likewise the second, likewise the third, likewise the fourth. So above and below, around and everywhere, and to all as to myself. I will abide, pervading the all-encompassing world with a heart imbued with loving kindness, abundant, exalted, immeasurable, without hostility and without ill will. I will abide, pervading 1/4 with a heart imbued with compassion. Likewise the second, likewise the third, likewise the fourth. So above and below, around and everywhere, and to all as to myself. I will abide, pervading the all-encompassing world with a heart imbued with compassion, abundant, exalted, immeasurable, without hostility and without ill will. I will abide, pervading 1/4 with a heart imbued with gladness. Likewise the second, likewise the third, likewise the fourth. So above and below, around and everywhere, and to all as to myself. I will abide, pervading the all-encompassing world with a heart imbued with gladness, abundant, exalted, immeasurable, without hostility and without ill will. I will abide, pervading 1/4 with a heart imbued with equanimity. Likewise the second, likewise the third, likewise the fourth. So above and below, around and everywhere, and to all as to myself. I will abide, pervading the all-encompassing world with a heart imbued with equanimity, abundant, exalted, immeasurable, without hostility and without ill will. Okay. That's the second. I think the other one, the Ankara Sutta. We finished it already. Yeah, we finished this also. Yeah, this is one. The highest blessing. Now let us chant the verses of the highest blessings. Thus have I heard that the blessed one was staying at Savatthi, residing at the Jeta Grove in Anathapindika's parks. Then in the dark of the night, a radiant Deva illuminated all Jeta Grove. She bowed down low before the blessed one. Then standing to one side, she said, Devas are concerned for happiness and ever long for peace. The same is true for humankind. What then are the highest blessings? Avoiding those of foolish ways, associating with the wise, and honoring those worthy of honor. These are the highest blessings. Living in presence of suitable kinds, with the fruits of heart's good deeds, and guided by the rightful way. These are the highest blessings. Accomplished in learning and craftsman skills, with disciplines highly trained, and speech that is true, and presence to hear. These are the highest blessings. Providing for mother and father support, and cherishing family and space of wealth that have no beings. These are the highest blessings, generosity and a righteous life, offering help to relatives and kin, and acting in ways that leave no blame. These are the highest blessings, steadfast in restraint and shunning evil ways, avoiding intoxicants that doubt the mind, and heedfulness in all things that arise. These are the highest blessings, respectfulness and being of humble ways, contentment and gratitude, and hearing the Dhamma's frequently taught. These are the highest blessings, patience and willingness to accept one's faults, seeing venerated seekers of the truth, and sharing often the words of Dhamma. These are the highest blessings, ardent, committed to the holy life, seeing for oneself the noble truths and the realizations of Nibbana. These are the highest blessings, although in contact with the world, unshaken the mind remains beyond all sorrow, spotless and secure. These are the highest blessings. They who live by following this path know victory wherever they go, and every place for them is safe. These are the highest blessings. Okay. Okay. อันธรรมยังทวติงสาการปะทังพนามาเสอายังโคเมกายโยอุดทังปาทัตตาลาอาโทเกสมัทธกาตัจจปริยันโตปุโรนานัปปการัสสะอสุจิโน This which is my body, from the soles of the feet up and down from the crown of the head, is a silk bag of skin filled with unattractive things. Ati imasaming kaye, in this body there are Kesa, hair of the head, Loma, hair of the body, Nakha, nails, Tanta, teeth, Tajo, skin, Mangsang, flesh, Naharu, sinews, Ati's bones, Ati minchang's bone marrow, Wakang, kidneys, Hatayang, heart, Yakanang, liver, Ilomakang, membranes, Papihakang, spleen, Papasang, lungs, Antang, bowels, Antakunang, entrails, Uttariyang, undigested food, Garisang, excrement, Pitang, bile, Semhang, frame, Upo, pus, Lohitang, blood, Sedo, sweat, Medo, fat, Asu, tears, Vasa, grease, Kelo, spittle, Sinkhanika, mucus, Lasika, oil of the joints, Muttang, urine, Mathalungkanti, brain, Ewamayang me kayo uttang patatala, Atoke samattaka, Tajapariyanto puro na napakarasa asujino. This then which is my body, from the soles of the feet up and down from the crown of the head, is a silk bag of skin filled with unattractive things. Any more? Okay. I think that's it now.
We now request for the true refuge, 5 and 8 precepts together. We begin by bowing 3 times. First bow. Second bow. Third bow. Mayang bante ti saranena saha atta pancha silani yachama dutiyampi mayang bante ti saranena saha อัตตาปัญชสิลานิยัจฉามะตติยัมปิมายังบันเตทิสารเนนะสหอัตตาปัญชสิลานิยัจฉามะ
นะโมตัสสะภะคะวะโตอะระหะโตสัมมาสัมพุทธัสสะนะโมตัสสะภะคะวะโตอะระหะโตสัมมาสัมพุทธัสสะนะโมตัสสะภะคะวะโตอะระหะโตสัมมาสัมพุทธัสสะ
นะโมตัสสะภะคะวะโตอะระหะโตสัมมาสัมพุทธัสสะนะโมตัสสะภะคะวะโตอะระหะโตสัมมาสัมพุทธัสสะนะโมตัสสะภะคะวะโตอะระหะโตสัมมาสัมพุทธัสสะ
ทังสรณังคัจฉามิ
พุทธังสารนังกัจฉามิ
ธัมมังสรณังคัจฉามิ
ธัมมังสารนังกัจฉามิ
สังฆังสรณังคัจฉามิ
สังฆังสารนังกัจฉามิ
ยัมปิพุทธังสรณังคัจฉามิ
ทุติยัมปิพุทธังสารนังกัจฉามิ
ยัมปิธัมมังสรณังคัจฉามิ
ทุติยัมปิธัมมังสารนังกัจฉามิ
ยัมปิสังฆังสรณังคัจฉามิ
ทุติยัมปิสังฆังสารนังกัจฉามิ
ตติยัมปิพุทธังสรณังคัจฉามิ
ตติยัมปิพุทธังสารนังกัจฉามิ
ตติยัมปิธัมมังสรณังคัจฉามิ
ตติยัมปิธัมมังสารนังกัจฉามิ
ตติยัมปิสังฆังสรณังคัจฉามิ
ตติยัมปิสังฆังสารนังกัจฉามิ
สรณกัมมนังนิธิตัง
อามาปันเต
ปานาติปาตาเวรมณีสิกขาปะทังสมาธิยามิ
ปานาทิปาทาเวรมณีสิกขาปะทังสมาธิยามิ
อทินนาทานาเวรมณีสิกขาปะทังสมาธิยามิ
อัดดีนาดานาเวรมณีสิกขาปะทังสมาธิยามิ
กาเมสุมิชฌาจาราเวรมณีสิกขาปะทังสมาธิยามิ
กาเมสุมิจฉาจาระเวรมณีสิกขาปะทังสมาธิยามิ
มุสาวาทาเวรมณีสิกขาปะทังสมาธิยามิ
มุสาวาทาเวรมณีสิกขาปะทังสมาธิยามิ
สุราเมรยมัชฌปมาทัฏฐานาเวรมณีสิกขาปะทังสมาธิยามิ
สุราเมรยมัจจปมาทัฏฐานาเวรมณีสิกขาปะทังสมาธิยามิ
Now for the eighth preceptor อพรหมจริยาเวรมณีสิกขาปะทังสมาธิยามิ
อาบรหมจาริยาเวรมณีสิกขาปะทังสมาธิยามิ
กาลโภชนาเวรมณีสิกขาปะทังสมาธิยามิ
วิคาลาโภจานาเวรมณีสิกขาปะทังสมาธิยามิ
นัจจคีตะวัทิตะวิสุกทัสสนามาลาคันทะวิเลปนะธารณะมันดนะวิภูสนัฏฐานาเวรมณีสิกขาปะทังสมาธิยามิ
นัจจาวิกาวริตาวิสุขาดัสสนามาลากันดาวิเลปนาดารณามันดาวิภูสนัฏฐานาเวรมณีสิกขาปะทังสมาธิยามิ
จาสยนะมหาสยนาเวรมณีสิกขาปะทังสมาธิยามิ
อุชาสยนามหาสยนาเวรมณีสิกขาปะทังสมาธิยามิ
อิมานิปัญจอัฏฐสิกขาปทานิสมาธิยามิ
อิมานิอัตถสิกขาปทานิสมาธิยามิ อิมานิอัตถสิกขาปทานิสมาธิยามิ อิมานิอัตถสิกขาปทานิสมาธิยามิ
สีเลนะสุขติงยันติสีเลนะโภคสัมปทาสีเลนะนิพุติงยันติตัสมาสีลังวิโสทะเย
Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Let us bow 3 times. Let's bow. You can bow. Let's bow. We now formally request for the Dhamma Talk.
Brahma Jaloka Thikbhakti Sahang Bhakti Các tan Jali An Thikwak Rang Ayajaka Sampi Thak Sakta Pak Rak Jak Khak Jaktika Thế Se Thủ Thang Mang Anu Kang Tik Mang Pak Chang
นะโมตัสสะภะคะวะโตอะระหะโตสัมมาสัมพุทธัสสะนะโมตัสสะภะคะวะโตอะระหะโตสัมมาสัมพุทธัสสะนะโมตัสสะภะคะวะโตอะระหะโตสัมมาสัมพุทธัสสะพุทธังธัมมังสังฆังนะมะสามิ Okay, so today another Fridays, we are meeting together to listen to Dhamma Talk. So tomorrow is a special day. It's a teacher day, 16th of January of every year. In Thailand, we consider this is the teacher. We remember of the teacher present, and it also happened to be the day that Ajahn Chah passed away on the 16th of January. So he picked a very auspicious day to pass away on the teacher day. So every year we'll come together at Wat Papong for circumambulation and usually a week of Dhamma talks and sitting and practicing together. It's quite inspiring. But this year is because of COVID, so we decided since last year that we're not going to have any gathering. So we are basically do our own practice. In each monastery have their own practicing, and even in the monastery now, because of the COVID, is like in my monastery in Wat Bulam and in Anashad, we're not allowed for people to come for practice because it will for prevent measure. So I think it's okay. We can practice in our living quarter for the social distancing, but we can still communicate. We can get in touch. Even the body, which is the Buddha always say, the body is the nest of all the illness and disease. And this is, with the COVID, we can see how dirty the body is. We try to stay away from each other, and we have to assume that people get infected unless proving otherwise. So that's how we keep ourselves safe. But the Dhamma, we still keep close contact with, and even though we are separate by distance, but by Dhamma, we will practice at the same level. Then by nature, we are close, like people with 5 precepts. They probably feel they understand each other when they keep 5 precepts. Like, say, if you speak to the people who are not keeping 5 precepts, they probably the worldview and everything else is probably different. That's why they said the speak or the teaching about the precept, the training precept, it's very difficult for people who doesn't have precept because they don't want to hear it. People get drunk, they probably the last thing they want to hear is the talk about refraining from these intoxicants. But people with the same precept, the mind is at the same level, and they will by nature, they will be inclining toward listening to the Dhamma because they practice and they see the benefit by themselves. The fact that they are far away from this defilement of this misbehavior, transgressing, killing, stealing, telling lie, sexual misconduct, intoxicants. So they know that when they stay away from this, it's quite free. The body don't have to be slave with this defilement, with this greed, hatred, and delusion. So in many ways, the mind is already in the same level. The same way, even if you are commit to the higher training, like I remember when I went to Nana Chah and for the first time, and we have to be practicing 8 precepts and putting on white and keeping all these 8 precepts. In many ways, like in Nana Chah, we are coming from all around the world. 20 years ago, when I was in Nana Chah, there was 18 countries living together in Nana Chah. It's quite a lot of different people have very different backgrounds actually. But because of 8 precepts, we are joined together by the same commitment to we think this is our training rules and we want to live by this. So we refrain from entertaining, adorning the body, sleep very simply, and all those things. And very interesting is that we feel very close to each other. I mean, like I remember even my friends who are we are friends since beginning, like in the primary school and all those things. For 20, 30 years, we are basically friends. But because when we commit to different set of rules, the worldview and the routine and the way when we practice is different. And I remember like my friends come to visit me when I was in monastery. And surprisingly, I mean, when we talk, I feel kind of even distant from him, even we know each other for a long time. But for people, living in the same monastery from another side of the world, different background, but commit to the same level of precept, then I feel close, because this is what our lifestyle is. So this is, of course, you have a commitment higher. When I was a novice, another 10 precept. Another rule is about money. When you give up the money, totally different view altogether when you think about things. When you are layman, I mean, everything is the bottom line. How much does it cost, and whether able to afford it or not, and things like that. But when you are keeping the 10 precepts, then money is not the issue. I mean, you not ever think in terms of that term, like how much does it cost. It's just whether it's necessary for you or not. If it is, then it's helping you practice. Sooner or later, usually it will come up. I don't know, maybe because of people are supportive. They really think, okay, they want to support you somehow. So this is kind of the example of when you commit to a higher level, you become familiar, or your friends are different, group of people are different. And of course, being amongst 227 rules is another big set, and you find out that you are closer to your monks train than the lay people, because the way we commit to the higher training and our lifestyle. So that's why I think it's not the distance that separate people, but I think it's the way of practice or the commitment, the level that I will commit to this, the feel this is important in my life, this is not important, and what did I should cherish and should live up to this ideal. Is actually that is more important than the distance. So even now we are quite far away in terms of the measurement, but the mind, when we practice at the same level, is close to each other. Like we realize that putting aside one day a week, we make that as our real holy day, the day that we are dedicated and commit to the training, and we feel like being born as human being is very auspicious, we got a good opportunity. So even though we have to be busy with making a living, but one day a week is it's a starter. We can start with that and put that day committed to the higher training. So whatever level that we are committed to the higher. We are see whether we can be happy without all this sensual pressure that normally our happiness defined as a present feeling by we can get what we want in terms of the nice sight, nice sound, and nice taste. All those things we are changing that. The source of happiness is from inside, from the fact that we are alive and we have the opportunity to study, to know what the mind is, how it works, and how the thing is really manifest. Just start to look closely to a reality with the guidance of the Buddha instruction. So 16th of January, Teacher Day, we come together thinking of the teacher. Actually, our first teacher is our parents. In Pali it's called Puppacariya. Puppa is mean the primary or the first teacher. And when we think about our parents, it's quite amazing how much we depend on them. The fact that we learn the language is very important. Right? The human is not like other animals. We born and we spend many years depend on our parents, and they give us the teaching how to communicate to the world. They say that the parents is like the looking glass, which represent the world to us. So in many ways we are imitate our parents. When you practice, you can start to see how much your baseline or your you're equipped with a lot of things from your parents, the way you think or many things. So that's why they are our first teacher. And on this day, we very gratitude of how lucky that we born into this family, and the fact that we able to have courage and support to go forward or to be in the right path, to have a chance to study Buddhism. And after the parents, there are also our relatives, usually the auntie, uncle, grandparents. In Buddhist country, I think this is quite a nice combination, because what usually happen is that the parents, the mother and father, they have to work very hard. Usually they don't have much time, but the people who bring the kid to the temple, usually the granny, grandpa, auntie, and uncle, because they are, I mean, they probably have more time. Like in my case, my grandparents is the one who take me to the temple to do the merit and to bring me close to the teaching of the Buddha. So that's another teacher, the teacher of basically introduce the Buddha teaching. Like the grandparents, they've been through that. I mean, they've been everything. They have their kid, their own kid. They have their grandkids, and they at the point where they are. I mean, their life is probably not have many years left, but what would they want to hand down to the next generations? I think it's quite a nice combination when you have a grandparents meet with the grandson. So because usually parents is busy with making a living, they not really have much to think about this thing. But be a grandparents, you've been through that already. So if you're not gonna give something to your grandson or granddaughter, what is the most important? And all of many generations of Buddhism, they seem to be realized that giving this teaching of the Buddha is the most important thing. They've been through life and they probably with their own trial error, and they find out that to know the right teaching in the early day is very beneficial. Of course, usually the kid will not understand much, but they got on the right path. But when they turn teenage, they probably have their own way, feel in love, do this and that, do a lot of try this and that thing. But I think the most important thing is they can come back. They know that, okay, my grandparents feel very comforting in many ways, when you're around the people who have a Dhamma. And even though yourself, maybe certain time when your hormone kick in and all those things, you get lost for a while, but you come back and this is really what my grandparents cherish the most. And when you have more experience, then you know that what the real thing is, to understand it, and the sooner the better. This holy life, the worldly is just a worldly. There's just no end to it. And but to practice and to really go into deeply to educate yourself how to live peacefully with your friends, with your social, how to live with your physically well, socially well, mentally well, and to relate to the reality in the right way, and to understand what is the holy mean by being alive, what is the mean by being humans. So this is the second group of teacher, our relatives, especially the grandparents, the generation who has experience and who say that this is the most important thing. And then the teacher, the teacher in school has another important. Everybody have a chance go to school, and normally the subject that you do best is actually when you like the teacher. Actually, it doesn't matter much if you like that teacher, you probably do well in that subject. So the teacher is very important because he or she is the first person who gives you the knowledge, how to live together in school, and, to learn the skill, what your occupation in the future. So that is very important. And have the teacher like that who really dedicate to help you And then another teacher is a spiritual teacher. Now when you maybe at a certain time in your life where you already acquire all the things that you need as a livelihood, you have some occupation, but there's still something missing. Like what is the meaning of life? What is spiritual dimension? How would I go on to move on? So that spiritual teacher is come into play. And actually the word teacher, or in Thailand we call kru coming from karu in Pali. Karu mean many things. One thing is karu mean heavy because you have to take the teacher seriously or heavy. This is like something that you are not taking anything lightly about that. And also any karma that you do toward them is heavy karma. If you taking care of them well, then the result will be good in a heavy way. It's just it's the name of Kuru. Kuru is very interesting if you look at the root. I mean, it can mean Ku and Ru, mean the dark and light. The teacher who taking from the dark to the light. It can also mean the wing, the bird with the wing. It's called Kuru. So for me, it's like the teacher is like the wind beneath your wing, making you fly because you have the teacher support you. It can also mean respect. Karop in Thailand. Karop is mean respect. So the people you should be respect to, and the root can also mean the one who really beloved and giving the attraction or his time and energy to help with the student, like as a relationship, special relationship. I think now we use the word guru is coming from kuru here, guru, but the guru now it has some kind of different meanings. It's like the master, or the relationship is maybe guru is the one who or is very high, and you have to do everything the guru say, or is the one who know everything and things. But in Buddhism, the guru or the teacher, the relationship is the kalyana mitta. Again, the Buddha said he is like kalyana mitta. It's a good friend, or the friend that you guide you along the path. So there are certain quality of the kalyana mitta or the karu that is worth of being the good teacher. The first one is piyo. Piyo is like endear or beloved. The one who are really love to be around. When you are a teacher, you are the teacher not only give you kind of information, but it also give you kind of inspiration, like a role model. Like, okay, I want to be like that. So that's beyond you want to be around. It just feel nice to see basically endearing, beloved teacher. Karu also they have to be heavy in the way that he also, when he point out certain things, it's very important. You're not supposed to take it lightly. Whatever the teacher say, you take it really heavy and practice it wholeheartedly. Viyo karu, pavaniyo. Pavaniyo is mean to be when you meet the teacher, is make you want to be good, want to be better person. So when you stay with him, or when you study under him, then your wholesome karma increasing, your unwholesome karma decreasing. So that is called pavaniyo. You want to follow his path and reduce your defilements and improve your quality. Niyo Kalu Pavaniyo. He and also able to teach the difficult subject to make it easy. The quality of the teacher, and he also very patient because the students sometimes have a shortcoming, sometimes very difficult, but he understand and he can bear with it, stay with the student and waiting until the right time to point out and patiently bring him to understand the point. And then the last one is not to bring student in the bad way. He will, because with a good intention, he will try to do the best for his student. So this is a 6 quality of the good teacher, which is called Kalyana Mitta, the friend in the holy life who can lead you to a practice. So, I mean, in many ways, we are so lucky that we have Ajahn Chah, like our model, and he represents of all these 6 qualities of Kalyana Mitta. So he able to create the Sangha training that is seem to be just right for the times after the Buddha passed away. Rule and thing. Sometimes it's very strict. Sometimes you can relax on this. So he's the one who really sorted out which rule that is very important and you have to keep and stick on that. Which rule is okay. You can ease a little bit. Have some kind of modification to a certain amount that this time already passed more than 2,500 years, so there's some minor modification somehow to make the life as amount easier. Certain area that is very strict. Okay, this thing you have to live very strictly to the rules and regulation. So this is very lucky that we have a teacher like him, the example of the Sangha. And for me, I didn't have a chance to meet Ajahn Chah personally, but I meet him through Ajahn Chayasaro, which is the disciple of Ajahn Chah. I met Ajahn Chayasaro when I was in America, and basically right away I think this is a very special person. He seemed to know a lot just by meditating and able to answer the questions intellectually, and he also not just by theoretical, but he really practiced into himself. He become the embodiment of his own teaching. So I met him first when there was a retreat in Boston, MIT, and I was a medical student at that time. Actually, I was a resident. It's already a doctor, but then I have a chance to go and join the retreat that's organized by the Thai student study in the state. And yeah, I mean the fact that I able to be close to the monks is very interesting, because I don't know what the monk would be like. When I was young, I go to the temple, but I never know what is the real monks are doing. You just go and offer the food and you go back home. But this is the first time when you have a chance to upatak, to take care of the monks. So should be able to listen to his Dhamma talk, able to walk through the forest, to the trail together, and have a chance to sit, meditate, and when the mind quiet down, settle down, have any question, he can answer that questions. It just seems to be very inspiring. Like I'm thinking, oh yeah, if the monk do like this, then I want to be a monk too. It seems to be very, very, very nice way of living a life. It's just very simplicity of it. But yet you're doing a very difficult job of dealing with your own heart and mind to learn it, and with the proper teaching with the teaching of the Buddha, then your lifestyle is become your path. Your occupation is now is come together. Your meaning of life, your livelihood, your lifestyle and your ideal. You don't have to compromise so much. If you want to go straight away, this is the way of leading directly out of this suffering, to understand it. And yeah, he many things that I can give you the example of why I think Ajahn Chayasaro, he's not only teaching, okay, yeah, like me, I'm giving you the 5 precepts. Okay, first, not to kill. So you can take that and then practicing. But see, when I was with him during that year, I remember we have this tea time in the afternoon. We're supposed to go out and gathering all these dry twig and try to set up the fire and to have a cup of tea. So I remember I just at that time I was just gathering piece of wood and then set up the fire and slowly throw this wood in, and all of a sudden Ajahn Chayasaro, he was walking by and he probably see some ant crawling on this wood, and he just take it out from the pile of fire and just get a shock, But this is an example of some people who are really he really practiced that, and he feel really a lot of compassion toward all living being. But me, I'm carelessly, I just tossed in. I didn't think about that, but he probably see some ant and he just take it out from the fire. Now this is an example, and he teach some of the teaching about the metta, the loving kindness. When we walk through the forest, he will say, "May I be well, may I be free, may I be kind." Like this, you take a step through the wood and you just chant this mantra. And you just feel very connected to all living beings. I remember after this long walk and this chanting, even the string of ant walking by, I just feel very connected somehow. And when you sit meditate, it goes very, very deeply. So, this is another example of when you're able to be close contact with somebody who really living the teaching. It just make you really, this is possible. It's not that far away. So you got a teacher who are really can be your good example, can be your role model, and this is what you can be like him if you practice taking time and effort, commitment. Then at the end of the line, then if you will be like him, then it's worth the whole 10, 20, 30 years. So that is mean by having a spiritual friends as well. And then, of course, you be with Ajahn Chayasaro. He tell us about Ajahn Chah. I just start to make connection to him. And I remember listen to his Dhamma Talk, Ajahn Chah. First Dhamma Talk I listened is called A Real Home. The teaching that Ajahn Chah giving to the mother of a doctor who are ill, about to die, and Ajahn Chah very consciously kind of speak in this cassette tape, bring it's like a present to the doctor mother. So it's basically how to prepare for death and how to face the illness and sickness. And I remember listening to that talk, and I just my tear is coming out. I never listened to the talk that beautiful before. It's called A Real Home. It's probably translated to English already, but it's very, very nice to hear the teaching like that. So this is the step by step. From our connection. One teacher lead you to the other teacher, and and you're able to leading a life. And finally, when I graduate from residence and fellowship, then I come back and decided to ordain to pursue this path. So this is another teacher, a teacher that leading to the spiritual path. And then, of course, of all, the greatest teacher is the Buddha. Without him, there will be no of this at all. So he was the source of all this knowledge of this Dhamma, this Sangha, the institution that is hand out this lifestyle of practice of generations. So on this special teacher day, then we remember all all that make us today. Our parents, our relatives, our teacher at school, our spiritual teacher, our friends, the Sangha, up until the Buddha. So this is good to have at least once a year that we kind of memorize and bring into consciousness how important and how lucky we are as to be born in such a time that is still dispensation of the Buddha is still available. It's just us whether we can practice or not. Everything is out there. Whether you can, and the more you practice, the more you see benefit by yourself. So this is the teacher day that we are commemorate. Tomorrow there will be in Wat Papong. Probably there will be some circumambulation, but because of the COVID, then may not be a big event. Maybe just few monastery close by can come and do quietly. Remember the teaching of Ajahn Chah and to the Buddha as well. And I'm also coming back from Wat Bulam. There's a ordination procedure in Bulam. We have the novice who've been a novice for 7 or 8 years now, and he turned 20 this year, and he will go forth to be a monk. So this is the second novice who become a monk in Bulam. So it's not that easy to be a monk. In Bulam, we ordain every year in summer 50, 60, 70. So far, it's only 2 left to ordain as a monk. One is a Samanera man who about 6 or 7 years ago now. But he want to travel, so he go and stay with the Thamayut monks in the north of Thailand. And then this is Samane Ni. He's a second one who stay on since the early days and quite accomplishment in a way. So, like I say, this is now is the difficult. The novice who really ordains is a novice and stay on as a monk. It's getting rarer and more difficult as time go by, because of many situations. The technology, people have less kids now, so usually the parents, not like in the old day where they have many kids, they can send some to the monastery, and the way the lifestyle is and all these things is very difficult for the novice to survive, to become a monk. Even in Wat Papong, it's not many. I remember when I first come to the monastery, like about 20 years ago, there's still quite some novices in the forest traditions. There's still sometimes it's quite naughty one, but there's still few of them, and some of them continue on to be monks. But now it's almost none. Even in the main branch like Wat Papong. So in the past few days, we went. There's only one novice who are 70 years old who ordained novice first, and then ordained as a monk. So it's totally changed now with this dynamic of things. In the same way, I think even in Burma, there used to be a lot of novice, but now with modernization of the country, then difficult. I think the killer for a novice is a cell phone. Yes, that's true in Burma as well. So when you got one telephone, then that's it. You can't convince them to stay and practicing meditation. It's the weapon of massive distraction. Basically, you can get lost in many things just by that. So it's quite challenging to have the novice. So it's quite skillful actually. Ajahn Pum have to use a lot of skill, and you have to come up with a lot of activity. Some construction is good. They have to use some heavy work and some handcraft. Making the bowls stand, making the broom, making all these things. Just they have to keep something hand on. That they have to use the energy, and try some study. For me, if I there, I will teach some Pali and all those things, do some chanting, and have to learn Patimokkha, something that they have to spend their energy and time to do that. So, this is a time of the ordination, of taking a new chapter in their life, and we're looking forward to having another good monks if they are training well, and we will have a good monk in the future. So, but without a good teacher, then there will be no possibility. So, whatever difficult situation there may be, we just take what we have, and just use this as a time of the year to correct that. And with the social distancing, then we are up to ourselves, to our resource, to what to do with our time. We are at home, then we can practice in certain way. We set up maybe the corner somewhere in our house, dedicate to the practice. It's like we go to the monastery, but this is the corner that we're gonna think about the Dhamma. We leave everything outside. When we go in that corner, then everything will be just Dhamma. Maybe the chanting book there, you can sit, study the book, reading the Dhamma book, sit, meditate, walking. So this is the times that we have to rely on ourselves. And the teacher is still can be the inspiring. Then if you have a chance, we can visit. But if not, then we can have to rely on ourselves to practice. But also a good way is that there's few people who ordain temporarily because they can't do their job during this COVID. We have some chef who out of work, so they come and spend a month in monastery. Some other thing that they can't do their job because of the COVID. So I would guess that there will be more, but actually not many. Even when you don't have a chance to work, you still, I guess, is still busy with other things. I would think that it's a good time for, if you have any occupation that is disrupted by the COVID, this is a good time for you to maybe a year or a year and a half to really practice and take a year off, 6 months off. So for people who have thinking of that, but again, it seems to be very difficult. Like in Nanachat, in Wat Pananachat, this is the first time when they ran out of the novice and the Pakao. Because in Nanachat, you need a lot of coming and going, new people coming, and so the old people already ordained and go higher, and we have a new people who become a Pakao, become a novice who can support. But now, because almost like more than a year now, there's no traveling whatsoever. So it's first time in history of Wat Nanachat where there's no Pakao, novice, like almost. It's very difficult as well because the monk, we have to rely on them, helping with the kapiya, making it proper, like digging the soil, cutting the branch that touch the roof of the kuti, helping carrying the food for the monks, something like that. So it just become difficult. But yeah, at the same time, also the monks have one of the things that I think Nanachat never have the chance to enjoy is that free of guests. Normally there will be a lot of guests coming, but now because of COVID, Ajahn Kevali was basically completely closed the monastery, and then I think he enjoyed it quite a bit as well. Not to have to receive the guests. Normally you spend the whole morning, sometimes even up to the afternoon to talk to the guests. But now because of the COVID, then we have more time to ourselves to meditate. But there's no helper hand. But I think whatever we have left, the monks there will have more time to themselves and more time to practice. And okay, so I think this is the day that we, even though the year before, we probably at Wat Papong, doing the big circumambulation, 10 of 1,000 people, very inspiring. But because of this year special situation, we can inspire in another way. Remember that this is the real teaching of the Buddha. Everything is impermanent, and the body is subject to old age, sickness, and death. And the epidemic this is not something that unusual. It's happened many times, even in the Buddha time as well. So this is exactly because of this that we can't rely. We can't think, okay, I'm gonna be there next year, and because it's not sure. You can catch the illness anytime. It can be bad as well. Especially if you are old or you have any prerequisite illness, diabetes or hypertension or those things. So this thing is not something that you can take lightly. But we make sure that we keep distant, follow the recommendation, and maybe this is a time for us to think about our priority in life. If we catch that and we are basically we right away sent to hospital on tube, have to lie down, face down, and on the ventilator, away from everybody else, would be able to practice and to cope with that situation. I think it's basically make the maranasati, the contemplation of death, is very real. Before it's just very theoretical. Okay, we know that it's gonna be us somehow and someday, but maybe not in the near future. But with this epidemic, it's very uncertain. It might come sooner than we think. Like in England, people die, thousands of cases every day. In Thailand right now, it's not so bad. At least we have some kind of the way to keep a distance. I think one way is in Thailand is quite the social pressure is very strong. Like a few days ago, I went to basically this Bulam in Sawang, and there was a case where the people traveling and then give an illness to one of the old lady, and she got infected, not knowing that this is COVID. So she go to the hospital, and because people there also not know that she has a COVID, but she has some lung infection. But later on, they find out that she has COVID. So they end up have to quarantine half of the hospital because she was exposed to many people and nurses and all the doctor. So it become very big news in the community. And I think in many ways, because Thailand is still in the rural area, this thing is still very strong. So like because of this event, people in the village it's called Swang, Ban Swang. We can't basically go to any market because they you come from Swang, you can't go in, you are prone to get infected, so that is the way they keep distance between people. So that's why when I go back to Barom, I'm supposed to be the one who's chanting for the ordination, but because of this rumor, I'm traveling from Bangkok, you got to be the one who transmit it. And then Ajahn Kel said, no, you can't do the chanting. So I can only sit quietly, close my mouth, and then just listen. So that is how we keep it. I mean, you can't be exception. You have to follow the rule. If you are coming from outside, there's a quarantine 14 days. You're not supposed to do anything. You're just supposed to be there. Make sure that you are free from illness. Then you can go out and do something. So that's how in Thailand I think in many ways, because of the social pressure, people know where you travel and then they can keep a distance. And also when people die, and I think another thing is that we get cremated right away. I think one of the nice thing about being a Buddhist country, like in other countries, then they have to bury it, right? I mean, just to dig the ground, and I think it's not so sure whether how long because the body is still there, even though you put it in the ground, it might still, eating up the crops and things. So like in other tradition, because they dig in the ground, and when the rain comes, who knows, it can go in and may go to another place. But in Thailand, it just go in the cremation and then boom, just gone. So that's another, maybe the cultural way of destroying the body is become effective of preventing it from spreading further. So yeah, it's just whatever, for some reason it's not so bad here, but we have to keep an eye on it. The infection seems to be much quicker now, so we try our best to stay away. And I was thinking, would it be the same if we have the same worry about like great hatred and delusion, the same as a virus, or this person has a wrong view, or they spread to that person and now they spread to the wrong view, that would be nice, because he make that person angry now, so they become the whole thing angry. I think it's just, when we look at the COVID, we seem to be scared of it, but actually the more thing to scare is this defilement, greater than delusion, and it can have a tendency to spread easily. When you speak to some people, you infect them with the new idea, or you basically, if you hate it, people will have the reaction to that, and all these things. You just, or you lust over somebody and people love you back. It's just all these things, propagate of these things. So yeah, so this is the time of the year where we have to be cautious about getting together in the big group. But yeah, we have the day of commemorate our teacher. We can still practice even though we are separate by body, but the Dhamma is, we still have connection. So with this Dhamma reflections, I hope that you continue on to practice, at least once a week, kind of straining up, it's called pulling the sock up, maybe you have some relaxing, and then, okay, once in a week, we say that again loudly, okay, this is our commitment, or whatever your level 5 precept, 8 precept, okay, whatever your commitment to, or maybe your New Year resolution, I want to sit maybe half an hour a day, 1 hour a day, or whatever. Maybe I will listen to Dhamma Talk, half an hour a day, 1 hour a day, or whatever. You can have to make up your own schedule, to make it in the way that challenging to make it okay. Is you want to do it, and then you feel like, okay, I'm doing something more. You feel you achieve something, okay, and then stuck to that, and yeah, it's just you use the Kalyanamit, the circle of friends, that you're not there alone. You are with other people, and we support each other of the circle of Kalyanamitta. and with the teacher, the great teacher coming from the Buddha, Ajahn Chah, for me, Ajahn Chiyasaro, or the Sangha, and your friends, your teacher, your parents, your relative. This is become the circle of good friends who support you. So you're not there alone. We are in there together, but we have to practice by ourselves. But we have a lot of support. So with this Dhamma on Ajahn Chah Memorial Days and Teacher Days, and with a special time we have the COVID-19. So hopefully that all of you stay safe and keep practicing the Dhamma and use this time well. By being alone is a good time to turn inward, looking at the thing that we can learn and use this time in the way that we'll be proud. If the teacher look at us, then we can say, yeah, I'm doing the thing that the teacher will be proud of me. Okay, so I will leave this Dhamma for today or the special Teacher Day, 16th of January.
Dhamayang Dhamma Kataya Sadhu Karang Dadamase
Sadhu, 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 anumodami. Thank you, Tan Ajahn, for the teaching. Let us pay respect to Tan Ajahn again by bowing 3 times. First bow. Second bow. Third bow. We will invite Tan Ajahn to lead us in the closing homage.
Okay, so Arahang Samma Sambuddho Bhagava Puttang Bhagavantang Abhivademi Sawakhato Bhagavata Dhammo Dhammang Namasami Supatipanno Bhagavato Sāvaka Saṅkho Saṅghang Namami.
Happy Teacher's Day to you, Tan Ajahn.
So good luck, everybody. See you next week.
See you, Tan Ajahn, next week.